G'day, today we're doing our third video on King's driving lights. Now, we covered last time on a bit of a downfall with the King's lights. We're talking specifically about one of their previous iterations, 9-inch driving light. So if you've got one of these, one of the unfortunate symptoms, and some of the mounting systems on the current lights, not all of them, but some of the cheap models still hold a side bracket mounting system like that with the two bolts in it. There we go, the 2 hex keys. Now we've just pulled these off this is a Project 6-seater, and we've just pulled the driving lights off it, and the reason is because the mounts have busted again. So in the previous video, well, these haven't busted a second time, but the other lights I've had, they broke, and now it's time for these ones to break. And we covered that before. You'll see the stencil mark, the A and the K, Adventure Kings, there. That's that there, and then on the base you've got these other, so the bolt goes through here, that's what mounts your driving light, and then you've got 2 slots here. You could put an additional bolt there, and then you could have an additional point to lock it down. I haven't found that necessary. The one bolt absolutely holds the light in place without any difficulty, but that's your other weak point there, where those 2 slots are. And in fact, that's where this one here is cracked. It's cracked just there. You might be able to see the crack, it's just there. So this is just cracked, but this was a preemptive strike because the other light, this one here, this one cracked right through. So coming home the other day, heard a clunk, clunk, and that was the driving light hanging down and smashing against the front of the bull bar. Thankfully, they've got some very good plugs on them, and they didn't break. So that's good. They were hanging by the cord alone, and thankfully the strength of the plug and the wiring, once it snapped, was enough to hold it together. How it broke is it broke through there completely, through the AK, and then underneath on this side it snapped there, so it snapped there, and light hanging down. Could have been a lot worse. Thankfully, driving light survived. Now, in terms of operation, these lights still work great. In fact, I have absolutely no reason to upgrade them. They're about 5-6 years old now. Absolutely fine. Now, I know a lot of people aren't a fan of King's lights because of quality concerns, and certainly with the woes I've had with these. I've had 3 sets of these. These are the oldest sets I've had. I don't have the other 2 sets that I previously had. They went with other cars that I've sold. So this is the 3rd set of these that I've had, and it's the last to go, but all of them, the mounts broke. Thankfully, we were able to repair them and get them back on the road again. So what do you do? So if you've got one, I've had a few people contact and say, can you give me a bit more detail on how you fix your lights? I've got the same problem. So there's a couple of problems with these King's lights. Earlier on, King's got, unfortunately, a bit of a bad reputation, and and this is speaking generally from my opinion only, but a few people I know didn't like them because they, rightly or wrongly, became known for water ingress. So that in some of the previous lights, you'd have water kind of sitting in the bottom 1/5 of your light sloshing around, and also yellowing of the lenses. Their quality's a lot better now, and I've had no problems with water ingress on any of my King's lights, the 3 variants of this, and then I've also got one of the current generations of lights as well on the Land Cruiser, and I've had absolutely no problems with water ingress at all. Also had no problems with yellowing of the lenses. Now these are dirty. They've got bugs and crap all over them. I've just literally pulled them off the ute. I haven't cleaned them up or anything. But if I did, lenses are still sparkly clean. So absolutely no problems with water ingress, absolutely no problems with yellowing of the lenses. But I have had a couple of problems with the mounts. So what we've done, there's a couple of things to do to fix them. We'll talk about the cracking first because I've just shown you that. The common point is the A and the K on the side, crack through there, and then the additional slots in the bottom, crack through there. So what we've done, thankfully they're not an aluminium mount, so that's good, so you can weld them. So if you can weld reasonably well, and you've got a set of these and they snap, you can repair them, or perhaps more commonly, you might find a set of these, and I've seen them come up for sale secondhand on eBay, Facebook Marketplace, Gumtree, you know, your online marketplace of choice, with busted mounts or loose, and person's giving away $5, you might be able to make something of them or give them away. Otherwise they're ending up in the trash can, because most people, when they have a busted mount, they just bin the light and start again. But if you're reasonably adept with a welder, you should be able to fix them up. So what you do, if the mount's cracked right through, you basically got to put the mount on the light to see where it's all going to sit and at least tack it into place, because otherwise you might wind up welding it off. So you make welding it off, you might find that the mount's not sitting in the right place. So you're at least probably going to have to tack it in place while it's mounted to the light to get it set, and then you can fill it in. So what we've done, so you'll see on the side there, the A and the K, the Adventure Kings is gone. It's completely gone. So we've completely filled that in, welded all that up on both sides. It's just painted in a matte black. So it's all welded up as solid now. So and this is done to the previous 2 lights that I had that fixed, and they didn't break again, which is good. And then we've also welded up the base. So you can see there, the base doesn't have the grooves in it anymore. I've only ever had the single bolt in it, and that's been absolutely fine. So I see no reason to muck with that. So that's been welded up. And if you have a look through there, you can see that there's, oh, maybe I'll go from the back. You can see there's some weld there that we've actually built it up where those potential cracking points are, and we've left that in there. So there's a raised beater weld on both sides. You can see that, hopefully. So we've done that to give the base a bit of strength. The other thing I would do, now with some of the high-end King's lights now, they come with a piece of rubber that goes in here, that goes between your bull bar and the light. These older ones, and some of the cheaper King's lights even now, don't have that. So what I would do is just get yourself a piece of, that's just 2 mil rubber, 2 mil rubber, cut the length of the hole, drilled in the middle of it, just to sit in between your bull bar and the light, and then you can just tighten that nut up. It just takes a little bit of the vibration out, just to go between your bull bar and the light itself. Take a little bit of that vibration out, light will sit there a little better. The new King's lights have all that as well. The other problem with these lights, and it'll be true all the way to the current generation with the 2 bolts on the side that mount the light to your vehicle, is that these can get loose. Now, you've got a cast housing here, and that's a problem, because if you over tighten the Allen keys here, you could strip out the thread, which is not going to be too hard to do. If you've got stainless bolts here into a cast aluminium housing, and you just tighten the crap out of it with your Allen key enough, you could strip out your thread. It's going to be, I mean, you could re-tap it, but you know, cast aluminium can get a bit finicky. But anyway, but they get loose over time, and then your lights will be dipping down. You'll see a lot of kind of droopy, sad lights. It means your mounts aren't quite up to scratch in holding it in place long term. But as I said, these are 5-6 years old. I don't have any problem with sagging, and the reason is what I do is on the side of the light, they don't come with washers, which is really annoying. So take out your hex keys, Allen keys there, undo them and get to a couple of spring washers. Just go to Bunnings, you can get a little tiny one for your smaller height adjustment, and then your bigger one. Just get some spring washers for them. You need 4 for the whole set, 2 on both sides of each side, and you have to do it for 2 lights, obviously. Wax some spring washers on there, and then when you put the Allen key in, just put some Loctite on it. Loctite on the end, tighten it up really firm so that it's solid and not moving. Loctite on the end, spring washer, tighten them up, and I've had no problems with them sagging since I did that. But they don't come with spring washers, so the little bit of vibration over time, they get loose and they sag down, and then people just want to tighten them and tighten them and tighten them. And then, as a friend of mine found, you end up stripping the thread out, and there's precious little you can do there. So don't do that. A bit of Loctite and a spring washer, you should have no problems. And then if you're handy with a welder, you can weld up the mounts. And that, I mean, they're not very expensive lights. The new set that I bought was about $100. and you know, they're good. I have no reason to upgrade these. They work perfectly fine. They give me all the light I want on the highway, so I'm not going to upgrade these anytime soon. The only time that I would upgrade them is if I sold this and the lights went with it, then I'd buy a new set, but otherwise I'm not in the market for a new set of lights. But they've been great, and they continue to operate well. It's just the mounting system ain't quite there. So if you want to know one of the best lights I think that they make at the moment, watch the other video for a video on the current generation lights. I really like their mounts, but there are still mounts that Kings make with the double screw. And the first thing that I would do, even if you buy them new, buy some spring washers. When you get them, check there's no spring washers. If there's no spring washers, put a spring washer on each Allen key bolt. Get some Loctite, put some Loctite on the end, tighten them up, you know, obviously aim them, and then tighten them up firm where you want them, and then leave them, you'll be fine. And if they don't come with a bit of rubber in between your bull bar or your nudge bar or whatever and the light, I'd cut a little piece of rubber, 2mm rubber, put it in between, just to take some right, tighten up real tight, and you should be away. That's how they're doing more on their current lights. The upmarket lights have that little sheet of rubber in it, and it just takes a little bit of that vibration out. But that's how you can fix up some lights. If you've got a bit of time and good on welding, you know, you can keep your lights going. And you know, said 5-6 years old with these mounts repaired. Hopefully we get that out of them again, assuming we don't sell the vehicle and let the lights go with it. Hope this video was useful for you. Thanks for watching.